Welcome to Nonprofit Profiles. I'm Genevieve Riatort. Our veterans have devoted their lives in service of our country. It's so important that we make sure that they get the services they need when they return. Here today on our show is New Directions, a program right here in Western LA County that is doing just that. I'm honored to be here with Gregory Scott, President of New Directions. Gregory, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really honored and humbled to be here today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the service that you provide for our veterans. Can you tell us about New Directions and what the history of that program is?
Awesome. New Directions is an organization that serves veterans. We have a strong and bold mission to empower and transform the lives of veterans, both men and women and families who have served our country, and many of them are returning back, and we want to make sure that we are a great safety net as they're returning back and transforming their lives.
And how long has New Directions been around?
New Directions has been around since 1992, with a primary focus on those veterans who are homeless. When we look at some of our numbers, LA County has the highest concentration of homeless veterans anywhere in the country, over 8,000.
Wow.
So a lot of our history was born out of and focus on veterans who served in Vietnam, who were homeless, dealing with issues of mental health, dealing with issues of substance abuse. So for the last 20 years, we're located on the West LA campus of the Veterans Administration. So for the last 20 years, we've been really focused on work with homeless individuals, homeless veterans, and primarily the community or the group is those individuals who served in Vietnam.
And what kind of services do you provide to those veterans?
We're providing, obviously, housing, some of the basics like housing, food. We do a lot of work around job development, but a lot of our work is centered around case management, as well as providing mental health services, and really helping our veterans, really recapture their lives again and become self-sustainable. So a veteran can come into our program, be with us for up to 2 years. We're providing an array of different concentrated services for them, helping them get a job, helping them get reconnected to their family, helping them around issues of mental health, substance abuse, and then obviously getting them into permanent housing.
And how many veterans do you serve at one time?
We have a capacity to serve about 250 veterans at one time.
And are all of those housed with you?
All of them are housed with us. We operate out of 4 different buildings. 2 of our buildings are on the West LA campus of the VA, and then we also serve women, and we have 2 houses located in the community that also serves women as well.
And are you about evenly split with men and women, or is it more men, more women?
We have a capacity to serve about 18 women, and then the rest are primarily men.
I see. And so when a veteran arrives, how might they find out about your service? Is it word of mouth or?
There's an array of different ways that veterans, come to us. Some of it is word of mouth, as you indicated, but the majority of the first point of entry is normally through the VA or through other nonprofits within the community. They know about our organization, know that we focus on veterans, and often refer veterans to us.
I see. And so when a veteran comes to you, have they typically been long-time homeless?
Well, many of our veterans have been what we call chronically homeless, meaning that they've been, we've had people homeless for a year. We have people homeless who've been homeless for 10 years, for 20 years.
Wow.
And so one of the ways we're really trying to focus as we look towards the future, as I stated earlier, many of the veterans we served have served in Vietnam. But a big part of our future, as we look at where the organization is going, what's our vision for going forward, is a strong focus on those veterans who served post 9/11, meeting those veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan as they are returning home.
I would imagine that there's a big influx of those veterans. Are you starting to see some of them come to your organization?
Oh, absolutely. Even over the last year, it was hard pressed for us to find veterans who served in any one of those combat wars, but now we're seeing 20 to 30% of those we serve are now OEF or OIF veteran.
What does that mean?
They either served in Iraq or served in Afghanistan.
I see.
Yes.
And so do you have some of those veterans actually living on the facility with you now?
Yeah, probably about 30%.
And does that include women too?
We have probably fewer women who served in one of those wars, but we're serving up to 18 women in our women's program.
I've actually had the opportunity to visit one of the women's houses, and it really is an amazing setup. It seems like there's a host of wraparound supportive services.
Well, you know, one thing that we've learned is that the issues that many of our women are dealing with are very different than those that our men are dealing with. And it starts with dealing with military sexual trauma is a major issue many of our women veterans are dealing with. So from military sexual trauma to post-traumatic stress disorder to family reunification to substance abuse. So all those issues that the women are dealing with are vastly different, you know, on a lot of levels than those that our men are dealing with.
So how can the public help? Are there ways for our viewers to get involved with New Directions?
Absolutely. People can check out our website at www.ndvets.org. We do an amazing 5K walk every Memorial Day every year.
The Walk for Warriors?
The Walk for Warriors that we're very excited about. That's coming up pretty soon. And so people can register for that event and certainly get involved. But they can also volunteer. So there's a variety of different ways that individuals can get involved in our cause.
Well, wonderful. I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Awesome.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing to help our veterans reintegrate. It's really noble work, and I thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And for our audience, please do visit ndvets.org to find out about how you can be part of this movement. Thanks so much, and stay with us. Hey, slow down!
Right next to the library on 7th Street is the Santa Monica History Museum, where history comes to life for the entire family. Enjoy the exhibits, main gallery, the photo archive, research gallery, and much more. Come visit the Santa Monica History Museum, keeping history alive.
Welcome back to Nonprofit Profiles. I'm here now with Ed Gonzalez, who works with New Directions in homeless prevention for veterans. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you for having me.
Well, preventing homelessness among our veterans is a really important mission. Can
Absolutely.
you tell us about how you do that?
Sure. As part of New Directions, one of the programs we have is what's known as SSVF, or Supportive Services for Veteran Families. And one of our main focuses is to prevent individuals from becoming homeless, or those that are homeless, doing rapid rehousing of those individuals to permanent housing.
So that they don't become chronic long-term homeless.
Exactly. One of our target groups is chronically homeless individuals or veterans. So we go out there and do actual street outreach, or we do outreach into other agencies, much like Mr. Scott talked about. We do targeted outreach to areas where we know the homeless individuals are, and then try to locate those that are veterans, because that's our focus as an agency, and try and work with them to get them into permanent housing. But we also look at individuals who are currently housed that are at risk, because, as you know, the economy has been very, very bad for the past few years. So there's a lot of veterans out there struggling, at risk of becoming homeless, so we are able to provide services there. The way we do this is multifaceted. We look at providing case management to determine why they became homeless, or why they're at risk of becoming homeless, and providing those resources for them. But then there's also the opportunity of providing temporary financial assistance. So for instance, if somebody's behind on rent, we may be able to provide, depending on the availability of funds and if they meet the eligibility requirements. Likewise, for an individual who is homeless, you know, we may be able to provide financial assistance in terms of paying for the deposit and maybe a couple of months worth of rent to get them stabilized. But we also look at all the aspects of how are we going to create a stabilized home environment for this individual. So we don't want to set somebody up for failure. So we look at, do they need employment? Do they need mental health services? And we try and wrap around all those services through our case management roles.
And how do you identify families that might be at risk for homelessness?
Well, we have a eligibility screening criteria that's provided through us by the VA, who's the funder of this grant. And so they have to meet those requirements. So one of the requirements, we look at those individuals who are really low income. So it's considered a 50% area median income for the area they live in. So if they live in LA County, then we look at those numbers. If they live in Orange County, San Bernardino, we look at those numbers. And each county is slightly different. For instance, the median income for Orange County is a lot higher than LA County. For whatever reason, there's a lot of individuals in Orange County that make more money, so they take that and come up with a median income.
And so do you actually serve individuals from Orange County as well as locally here
Yes,
in West
our
LA?
main target is LA County, but we don't turn away veterans. We have certain areas that are targeted for service by our agency because there are other agencies that are also providing services, but we also provide services for Orange County because I don't believe there's any SSVF program currently in the Orange County, so we stepped up as an agency and wanted to make sure we serve veterans in that neighborhood as well.
I see. And so you partner with the VA, the government program?
Absolutely. The VA is the provider of the funds. Just recently, Obama announced that they were putting more money into this program. So they are actually putting $300 million into this program.
Wow.
And that's part of the goal of ending veteran homelessness by 2015.
So that's
pretty
nationwide,
close.
though. That's
That's
not just coming to
nationwide.
New
That's
Directions.
not just LA, exactly. That'd be nice. 'Cause
I'm
then
sure.
we'd really, go out there and make a greater impact. I think we're having a great impact as it is right now. One of our goals was to serve 200 families by September 30th. We're now at about 170, and we still got till September 30th, so we're going to surpass our goal as an agency.
So that's beyond the people who actually come and live on your
Right.
campus.
This is apart from those individuals who are what we would consider an inpatient program that live on our facilities at the two facilities in the West LA Veterans Affairs campus and then the women's houses. So this is apart from that.
I see. And so are you also dealing sometimes with families that have children?
Absolutely. Again, that's how we prioritize. We prioritize individuals who are chronically homeless and then families with children. And then we are also targeting OEF, OIF, which is Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. And then now we have the new term for it, which is OND, Operation New Dawn. So military is always changing names on different campaigns.
All that probably means more to the veterans than
Absolutely.
it does to us.
And that's part of what is great about our agency in terms of dealing directly with veterans is that we have a lot of experience and we understand the military culture as
So you
well
can
as the
speak
veteran
their
culture,
language.
which is completely different. And that's one of the things that I talk about when I go out there and do presentations to community agencies or the public at large. We also do education in terms of how to deal with veterans, how to provide services, and then of course let them know what we do so that if they do come across veterans, they can refer them to us for services.
So if we have any veterans who are watching or families who are concerned about veterans, how can they get in touch with New Directions to find out about services?
Well, there's a couple of ways. Of course, with the all the technology nowadays, they can go to our website, www.ndvets.org. They can also call our number, 310-914-4045. They can ask for the SSVF program, and they'll be directed to my department, and my staff will be able to take care of them.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for the work
Thank
that
you for
you're
having
doing.
me. And then can I just add one more thing?
Of course.
I'd just like to tell every veteran out there, first of all, thank you for your service. Second of all, it takes a lot more courage to ask for help, so don't be afraid to ask for help. If it's not through New Directions, find an agency to get that support.
Well, that's an important message to get out, and we know our veterans have incredible courage, and hopefully
Absolutely.
they'll have the incredible courage to seek support when they need it.
Exactly.
Thanks
Thank
again for being on the show,
you. Thank you for having me.
and thank you for being with us. Please stay with us as we have a chance to meet some of the veterans that New Directions is helping.
Hey! I don't know you.
Some problems are just too big to ignore. But don't take matters into your own hands.
Hey, lady!
With the help of a mediator, you can find a solution. Mediators are volunteer professionals who can help you resolve issues without the high cost of legal fees.
Wonder if he's single.
Hey, I saw him first.
Call us or reach out on the web if you'd like to volunteer or donate.
Welcome back. I now have the honor of sitting with two of the veterans that have served our country and are now benefiting from the services at New Directions. Welcome, Maria and Bridget.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. So let's just get right into it. Maria, can you tell me a little bit about what your life was like before you found New Directions and how you came to discover them?
Well, I never really accessed any veteran facilities at all. After I got out of service in '87, and I wasn't living too well on my own. I had a lot of bad mishaps happen to me. Lost a job, fall out with the family, and so I became homeless. And then I tried to build up my life back up, and it was so hard to do it on myself. And I went into community living, and the gentleman that was running the community living told me about the New Directions program, that me being a veteran, I can have access to it. So, I had to come and I talked to Sharon, the head honcho of the house, I call her, and she thought it would be great that I come into the program, and it was the best thing in my life. They turned everything around for me. They let me have access to, just going to the doctors, certain groups and programs within the house, and help me educate myself about the computer, about my career. So right now I'm really happy. I go to LACC full time. I'm trying to get my associate in radiology.
Wow.
Yeah, and I personally have a VASH voucher, looking for an apartment. And I'm really happy about the whole program in general. It really reunited me and my family in at a great spot right now.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
so
I'm very
wonderful.
happy.
And all of that within 9 months that you've been with
Right.
the program.
Oh, it's just been a roller coaster ride that's never ending. As long as I follow certain rules, everybody has to have rules, and they're here to show me that we deserve a better life than what we had.
Bridget, I see you nodding as if you can relate to some of what Maria's talking about. What's your
Yes.
journey been like?
It's been my life journey has been bumpy at best. At the best of times, it was bumpy. I ended up homeless with PTSD, military sexual trauma issues, addiction issues, and I ended up on Skid Row for a little over 12 years.
Wow.
Literally living on the street. And I got to New Directions because their outreach van had pulled up and they were handing out bag lunches, and the guy asked, was there any veterans in the group, because it was a whole crowd of people around, and a couple of us raised our hands, and he said that, there's a better way for you to live, and you don't have to live like this, and if you want to change your life, we know where you can get some help. And so he said, is there anybody in the group that want to get some help? And I was the only one that raised my hand. And then he said, well, when do you want this help? And I said, now. And he said, okay, get in the van. And I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when did that happen?
December 25th.
Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So you gave yourself the present of a new life on Christmas Day. Or the beginning of a new life.
Yeah, I guess. I just knew I was tired. I was hopeless. I was hungry. And I didn't even know that I had all these issues. I didn't know. All I knew is I didn't like the way I was feeling. And then I learned about my issues after I got to New Directions and got a clinician, and they helped me put in a claim through with the Veterans Administration for my issues, and I was able to be awarded for my claim. They said, okay, well, you know what? The Army is responsible for your issues, and we're going to take care of you. And
wow. So those 12 years that you were living on the street,
yeah,
there were services that you were entitled to that you just weren't able to access because you didn't have any support.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you feel now?
Normal, if that's a feeling. I feel normal. I feel like, okay, with the help that I have received and that I will continue to receive through New Directions, because once I leave the program, it doesn't mean that I leave the program. I continue to come back to the house to stay in touch with my case manager, to stay in touch with the sisters. I have to stay committed and connected.
And how meaningful is it for you both to be able to connect with other women who've had similar experiences, who've experienced, some of the same traumas and difficulties that you have? I would imagine there's quite a bond.
Yes, there is. A lot of times, a lot of the chief people that are out there trying to talk to them, but the sisters that we have together in the house, you know, it is unforgettable.
I mean, we're like a family. We're like a family, and we don't always get along, but we get along enough to know, okay, well, you know what, that was just a disagreement, and we get over it. And all of us have served in one branch or another, so we know how to follow instructions, and we know how to stay in a group net. You know, it's all for the good of the one whole. You know, we all work as a team, but individually we have our own issues that we have to deal with, and it's kind of difficult dealing with everybody's separate issues, but that's a part of life.
Sure.
So,
like any family.
Yeah.
Right.
So just real quickly, because we're almost out of time, can you tell me, Bridget, a little bit about your vision for the future, for your life?
Wow. I would hope to remain just where I'm at, you know, just where I'm at. It's not. I don't want a whole lot out of life. I just want to be able to maintain some serenity and some peace, and to be able to help. I mean, I would like to give back what was freely given to me. You know, I didn't have to do anything but ask for help, and it was out there. And I would ask any woman veteran that's out there that's suffering, and she may not know that she has issues. Just, you know, if you need some help, New Directions is the place to go.
And it's www.ndvets.org. Ladies, I'd like to thank you both so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of myself and our viewers for your service to our country. It's very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us on Nonprofit Profiles. Please join us again next time.